interesting story. When I first met her, Kay, it's my second wife, by the way. My first wife had passed away over 6 years ago. And so I met Kay when I was doing some training in Japan. And so after talking to Kay for 10 minutes, I knew that she would be my wife. So it didn't take me long to know that this lady would be my wife. And I do teaching on marriage, and I tell people, getting married is not hard. It's easy. You need 10 minutes. But anyway, after I married Kay, my two kids are from my first wife. She moved into our home. And within the first week or so, she saw that during our lunch and dinner, so the kids were teenagers at that time. They were 15 or 16, 17. And, while we're having lunch, while we're having dinner, I would be talking to them and they're talking to me. And Kay was just so amazed. She said, in Japan, the teenagers don't talk to the parents. And the parents don't talk to the teenagers. Say, how did you do that? How do you get the kids to talk to you? And you're a father. Why do they talk to you? It's because I've learned the principle on how to tie strings with the children, that it's the most important, and that heartstring is connected through love. It's love. It's turning our heart, treasuring them. It's love. The problem with the word love, it's in the definition. Love is a beautiful word, but depending on which culture you come in, the meaning behind love means very differently in different culture. And for our Asian culture, even though I was born in Cambodia, actually I'm of Chinese descent. And so I understand maybe some of you are Chinese, and so I understand the Chinese culture or the Asian culture or the Japanese culture, where love, we don't show much affection in our Asian culture. And we don't hold hands, we don't hug. Now, in America, we do a lot of that. But regardless, see, if you and I have a wrong definition of love or an incomplete definition of love, then we cannot love the right way. We won't be able to. Now, what a wrong definition, what an incomplete definition. Let me just give you some example. A wrong definition would be something along the line of when a guy is dating a girl and they're young, and the guy said to the girl, if you love me, you will have sexual relationship with me. That's wrong definition. So we can understand that's a wrong definition of love. Now, what's an incomplete definition? An incomplete definition means it could be a right definition, but it's just incomplete. And because it's incomplete, it's wrong. So what's an incomplete? One example, when a father believed that love is just providing for the kids. And as the kids and the wife, as they get older, a few years later, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, the kids get older. Then the children, as they become teenagers, the wife, after being married for 15 plus years, could tell the husband, father, you don't love us. And the father said, what do you mean? The husband said, what do you mean I don't love you? I provide for you. Look, you have your education, you have your money, you have all the food you need, you have a nice house to live in. What do you mean I don't love you? You see, the wife or the children might say, well, you don't love us because you don't spend enough time with us. I had this situation with some relatives of mine, my aunts and uncles. We were refugees from Cambodia. I was born in Cambodia. We were one of the first refugees to have left the country. And but when we came here, a lot of my relatives start opening donut shops. And with the little donuts that they sell, they become millionaires. The problem is this, that they would work 7 days a week, 12 hours a day. And they would call me. This actually happen. They call me and they have teenagers and kids in the 19s and 20s who got put in prison, who were addicted to drugs, who were having all kinds of issues in their lives. And the parents, mom and dad, aunts and uncle came to me and said, can you help me with our children? We don't know why they don't understand. We love them so much. Look, we work 7 days a week, 12 hours a day, and they get themselves into drugs and gangs and all these things. Why don't they know that we love them? The parents didn't understand. They believe in an incomplete definition of love. They thought love was just providing, and it's incomplete. Now, it's true, love is providing, but it's much more than that. And I've been teaching on this, and I'm going to do my best here to give you a more complete definition of love. If you and I, if as fathers, and this applies to mothers as well, if we turn our hearts to our children, if husband turns their heart to the wife and wife turn their hearts to the husband, the parents turn their hearts to the children and the children turn their hearts to the parents, do you know what's going to happen? We are going to experience some incredible, amazing restoration of the life that Jesus wants to give us, of the kind of family that God wants us to have. So I'm going to give you a more complete definition. It can be described in 3 words, and each of these 3 words have 3 subcomponents, and I'll go through it really quick. All of these are different expressions of love. There's the love, the care, and the relationship, and the friendship. Love. And we'll explain the 3 components of each, the subcomponents of each. Care includes providing, even sacrificing for them. Relationship has to do with friendship. You know, for example, Proverbs 17:17 tells us, a friend loves at all time. A friend loves at all time. Okay. Caring. Now, caring, we can see some of that in Romans 5:8, but God demonstrated his love in this. While we were yet sinners, he died for us. He cared for us. He died for us. He saw our needs, and he died for us. He took care of it. He sacrificed for us. Okay, so let's look at each of these 3 sets of definition with the components of each. If you and I are going to love someone, we need to learn to love them the way they feel or receive love. Now, this is, most of us, we try to love people the way we receive love. And by the way, this, like I said, this applies to our children. This applies to our spouse. You know, after Kay and I got married, I started meditating on Ephesians 5:25. It said, husband, love your wife as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her. But first I memorized it, and then I said, Lord, what does it mean? How do I love Kay the way Christ loved the church? What does it look like? And I began a quest, a journey of how to love my wife as Christ loved the church. And it may sound silly, it may sound simple, but it started one day when she was washing the dishes. And I said, Lord, how do I love Kay when she's washing the dishes? I remember just going around behind her, and I broke our culture. The culture, there's no hugging, there's no holding hands, but I want the kingdom culture. I didn't care, whether we're living according to our Chinese, Cambodian culture or the Japanese culture. I wanted to break the culture. I want to live the kingdom culture. So I gave her a hug from the back while she was washing the dishes, and she went, oh, and I knew she loved it. I said, this is good. How do I love her when she has free time? What does she like to do? How do I love her when she's angry with me? I notice when she's angry and her tone is up and my tone gets higher, and then she gets higher and we get higher, and it's just, we have a blow up. But I learned, if I'm going to love her when she's angry, I just reduce my tone, give her a hug, and God would help us, resolve the issue much quicker. How do I love her when she wants to talk and I'm busy? How do I love her when we go to bed at night, when I wake up in the morning? How do I love her when she's not feeling well? How do I love her when I'm not feeling well? So I started learning how to love Kay. And I started learning how to love my children and how to love others the way they feel, the way they receive love. But if you and I are going to love people like that, we need to have good boundaries. You know, if a person feel love when you give them gifts, you can't give them gifts all the time. They said, "Oh, if you love me, give me my." No, no, no. You know, there's certain boundaries, and some parents are not good at setting boundaries. You know, some parents give without boundaries. So we need to love them the way they feel loved, but we have to have good boundaries. But you can't force or you can't demand that love. Okay, so this is the first set. Now, care, providing, sacrificing. See, one of the subset of it is to provide for their physical need, to care for them. We started doing that when they're little babies. When they're little babies, we start caring for them. You know, we feed them, we change them, we burp them, we wash them, we care for their physical needs. Now, in addition to caring for their physical need, we need to care for their emotional, spiritual needs as well. What do we do when they're angry with us? What do we do when we're angry with them? How do we deal with them emotionally? I have a picture here, and most of you might not know what this is, but this is a disc golf net. It's a, you know, you have heard about golfing, but this is from Frisbee golf. So it's very similar to golfing. It's a game that we play here. It's one of the fastest growing sports in America. It's Frisbee golf. So like the concept of golf, you hit a ball into a hole. Sometimes you hit it 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, and it goes into a little hole. Now here, in this case, you take a Frisbee and you throw it, and you might throw it 3 or 4 or 5 times to get into that net. And the net is a pretty tall net. You know, it's almost come up to my height. You know, I'm about 2 meters, so it's a little bit less than 2 meters tall. So this is a metal net. Okay. Now, one day, somebody gave it to my son, this kind of net, because he and I, we love playing disc golfing. We do it together. So he was already 18 years old, and somebody gave him this net. And he put the net right outside my bedroom window. And the first thought is, I don't think it's a good idea for him to put it there. So I don't think it's a good idea. But I never told him, and he's already 18. And he would practice. You know how people like to putt when they play golf? They would hit the little ball and try to get into the little hole putting. So they practice the putting. And so he practiced putting with a Frisbee. So he'll throw and he'll throw and he'll throw and they go ka-ching and ka-ching. And so I thought it's not a good idea to put it so near my bedroom window. But I never told him. So a week later, I came home. Guess what happened? My window was broken. Now, it's really hard for me. The window is broken. It's hard for me. Number one, I don't like to fix things. I'm not so good at fixing things around the house. Number two, I don't like to spend money on things that I don't have to spend. So I had 2 choices. Choice number one, in terms of responding to him, how can you be so foolish? You're 18 years old. Don't you know that if you put that thing next to the window, you can break the fender? How can you be so foolish? That's one. The second response is, you know, singing, it's okay. We'll fix it together. Do you know what I chose? I chose option 2. Because a broken window is so much easier to fix than a broken heart. How do we care for a loved one when they're angry, when they're hurting, when they're struggling? We do a good job sometimes physically, but how do we care for them emotionally and spiritually? You see. And it was a choice. And I knew had I just kept yelling at him, or if I yell at him, his heart would be so broken. I mean, he was 18. He should have known better. And yet, By the way, I'm over 50, and sometimes I make mistakes that I should have known better too. I don't know about you, but we all have, haven't we? And here, that's where we learn to apply 1 Corinthians 13, the chapter on love, of being patient and kind and not easily angry as we care and love upon our kids. See, this is the second set of love. Lastly, relationship and friendship, enjoying time with them. You know, I remember ever since my kids were small, young, 3, 4, 5, 6 years old, 5, 6 years old, we would play board game, we play card games, we stay up till midnight on Friday night. Even when they were 6 and 7, they loved it. And I enjoy the time with them. And doing, you know, just having fun with them. I enjoy talking to them and listening to them. I made a decision early on that whenever they need me for something, I would always spend time listening, talking, or doing it with them. Like they would come and say, "Daddy, look at our drawing. Oh, that's a beautiful bear. Daddy, look at my homework. Oh, what a great job. Daddy, can we play kickball? Sure, let's go." And usually it takes a couple of minutes. And by the way, we homeschool our kids, so I get to spend a lot of time with them at home. But, you know, the friendship and relationship has paid off. Okay. And enjoying their interests. You know, I have a couple of photos, and maybe you can't see it really well, but this was taken while we were in Malaysia and Redan Island. My daughter, you know, she swims like a mermaid. I mean, she's smiling. You can't really see it maybe, but she's smiling. She's very graceful. Now, you might not be able to tell here, but my son is next to me. I'm in the middle. If you can clearly see the picture, if you look at my face, I am barely breathing. I could barely breathe. But she's still smiling like an angel, like a mermaid. But why did I do it? I don't like to swim. And yet, I love doing the things that they love to do. It's the relationship. You see, love, turning our hearts to our kids. As a father, the world is more broken. It's not only in the US, but I know it's in Malaysia too, because I go to Malaysia quite often and I see brokenness quite often. Families are more broken. The world is more broken. But the beautiful thing is God has a special plan, and his special plans involve fathers. He wants to use us as fathers to save, to restore, to strengthen, to win over our children, to heal this land. God has such a great and amazing purpose for us as fathers, because in the days ahead, we are going to be testimonies. They are going to look at us. They're going to look at you. They're going to look at your families. They're going to look at your marriages. They're going to look at your relationship with your children. And people will marvel at how amazing your relationships are. They're going to say, how come the fathers love the children so much and the children love the father so much? How come the husband loves the wife so much and the wife loves the husband? There must be a God. This is his plan for us. Even in the midst of so much chaos out there, so much horrible things and brokenness, God is going to restore the fathers and the hearts of the fathers. He's going to turn their hearts to the children and the children's heart to the fathers. I want to wish every father a happy Father's Day. But I want to ask you this question. Are you ready? Because if you are, it's going to be such an amazing and exciting journey, because God's going to do some incredible things in and through each of us. in the days ahead. In Jesus' name, amen. Thank you so much. So I'll pass that back on to you.
Thank you, Pastor Siu Ming. Just to give you all a heads up, sometime in September, Pastor Siu Ming will be coming back to Malaysia, and I'm actually discussing with him to perhaps meet up with the whole church in person and for him to share a little bit more. What you are hearing today is sort of a preamble. And we want to, I think it is important for us, not just as individuals, but as family units, particularly parents, particularly the men,